We have some terrible news about BetAar, which is in itself a terrible organization. It is, in fact, so bad, so racist, so extremist that the ADL considers it a hate group, which is saying a lot because they share a very strong commitment to Zionism and hatred of Palestinians and people who defend Palestinians. So let's take a look at this tweet from BetAar. Among the Jews we believe will not be allowed into Israel again are Peter Beinart, Aaron J. Mate, Norm Finkelstein, and many others. So this is terrible for a couple of reasons. One, it's terrible because it is, McCarthyite, smearing, hateful. But for me personally, it's terrible because I have to suffer the indignity of having my co-host on that list, Aaron J. Mate. As if that's not bad enough, if you scroll down, you'll see that they do include a helper. They include Jeff Helper, but not Katie Helper. So not only are they rubbing in my face that I didn't make the cut, my co-host Aaron Mate made the cut, I didn't. Another helper made the cut, I didn't. And other people I've interviewed, like Medea Benjamin, Simone Zimmerman, and Wallace Shawn, have made the cut and I didn't. So I feel pretty inadequate right now. But I will say something interesting about BetAar is that they are right in their prediction about at least two of the people on this list. You'll see the Jewish poet Adrienne Rich. She will most certainly not be going to Israel. She won't be allowed into Israel because she died in 2012. And if you go to the top left, you see Tony Judt, the brilliant historian. Well, he died in 2010. So I guess they have a good track record for predicting at least two people who won't be allowed back into Israel, but that's more because they're dead than anything else.
And Jeff Helper lives in Israel. He's the founder of Israelis Against Home Demolitions, and he, is an activist against Israel razing Palestinians' homes in the occupied West Bank. And so he's already there. So I don't see how he's not going to be let in if he already lives there.
Good catch, Aaron. I have to admit, I did notice Helper, obviously, because it hurt my feelings because I was snubbed. And I do know he lives in Israel, but I didn't put together that, that means he's not going to be not let into Israel because he's already there. So I guess, like people who follow sports would call this 2 for 3. They got 2 right and 1 wrong.
Yeah. Funny story about BetAar calling for me to be banned from Israel. I'm probably alive because of BetAar. During the Nazi Holocaust, my father, Gabor, who was then an infant, and his mother, my grandmother, Judy, they tried to get access to the Glass House in Budapest, which was a place of refuge for Hungarian Jews under Nazi occupation. And initially, they weren't allowed in. But because the founder of BetAar, Zev Jabotinsky, was a friend of my great-grandfather, Joseph Lovey, after BetAar members inside the Glass House heard that my grandmother and her infant son, my father, were outside, they were allowed in. And that very well may have saved my father and grandmother's life, and therefore might be the reason why I'm still here. So how ironic that BetAar helped save my family during the Nazi genocide, but now is targeting me during the Gaza genocide.
Yeah. Wow. They must be really upset about that.
It's just one of those historical ironies. Let's turn to some royal family news. We don't really cover the royal family here on Useful Idiots, but this is a worthy exception. Here's the news via Mint Press. Harry and Meghan cut ties with Muslim women's organization due to founders' pro-Palestinian statements. The Archwell Foundation, founded by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, has severed its relationship with the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition. The decision came following the discovery of past statements by the group's founder, Jenin Younes, who described Israel, wait for it everybody, as an apartheid state. According to reports, the Archwell Foundation had contributed over $55,000 in support of the group's initiative. So basically, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle give some money through their foundation to a charity, a Muslim charity in Milwaukee. And then the news outlet News Nation did like with some classic snitch journalism where they went to Archwell, the Meghan Harry charity, and said, hey, did you know that you gave a grant to someone who called Israel an apartheid state? And then Prince Harry and Meghan Markle cut off that charity. They're so offended that someone would dare call Israel an apartheid state and also speak out for Palestinian rights, which is what this charity director did. And Katie, you had a funny response to this. This is what you said. When your racist dead grandmother, who was born in 1926 and was the Queen of England, is better on Israel than you are. Also, sorry if I don't trust the opinion of someone who wore a Nazi costume to a party. And that's right, because, you know, as you pointed out with these screenshots, Harry's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, believed that every Israeli was either a terrorist or a son of a terrorist. So this racist queen, because Queen Elizabeth, you know, had some bigotry of her own, was more progressive on Palestine than her grandson, Prince Harry. And you also pointed out, you pointed that Prince Harry has dressed as a literal Nazi before at a costume party.
Yeah, and not only did he dress up as a Nazi, but he threw his brother and sister-in-law under the bus and claims that they bullied him or peer pressured him into doing that. Which, if that's true, they're weirdos. But it lies with you, Harry. It's on you. You don't have to listen to people who to tell you to dress up as a Nazi.
So for all we heard about, you know, Prince Harry being so woke and enlightened and standing up to racism, right? The racism of the royal family. Yeah. Apparently his evolution doesn't extend to Palestinians, to the point where his charity feels compelled to cut off a group simply because their founder doesn't like Israeli apartheid and has criticized it. And just really, it's worth stressing here, News Nation. I mean, this is what you're spending your journalistic resources on, trying to get a charity deprived of funds from Prince Harry because their founder criticizes Israel. I mean, classic snitch journalism.
Because their founder literally said something about Israel that is undeniable, which is that it is an apartheid state. I mean, there's really no disagreement about that. Yet again, another Palestinian Columbia student was just arrested for speech, literally for speech, and they're getting really creative. So let's take a look at this article. And what they're doing right now is they're not only targeting people who are on green cards, but actual citizens. And they seem to really like picking on, ironically enough, immigration lawyers. So DHS tells 2 Massachusetts immigration lawyers, both citizens, to self-deport. So the lawyers are warning that the DHS is not being careful. That's a pretty good sign. And let's take a look at this video about someone else who is currently being held by ICE. Tell me if you think this is an appropriate person to be held by ICE.
I'm here in the Leon County Courthouse, where we just got done with the first appearance of Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, who was detained Wednesday in Florida, and he had charges of entering the state as an unauthorized immigrant. However, he is an American citizen. His mother came to the courthouse, showed his birth certificate and his social security number card, and that still wasn't enough to get him released. The judge just said that she was sorry, and the attorney working for the state said that because he had an ICE hold, he couldn't be released, even if the court didn't find probable cause for his arrest.
A birth certificate and social security number proves that this person is a citizen, but he still can't be released from ICE. So this is the free speech and the end of governmental overreach that Marco Rubio is claiming to be responsible for. I mean, you just can't make it up.
I mean, it's hard to call it xenophobic if now they're trying to deport Americans. You know,
right.
I mean, so I guess you I guess you could give him credit for, I guess, not being xenophobic. I mean, can we give him that because they're trying to deport Americans? So technically, that's not xenophobic, but of course, it is xenophobic because xenophobic is rooted in bigotry, and they're targeting brown people, and they're targeting the lawyers of brown people. Now, they say in their instructions to lawyers to self-deport that was a mistake. They didn't mean to tell lawyers who are American citizens who represent immigrants. They didn't mean to get them to tell them to leave, but they are trying to deport now this man in Georgia who's an American citizen. So yeah, things are just getting nuts.
It's funny. It's like they're so they have such impunity and entitlement that Ben Shapiro doesn't even ask him to, doesn't even throw him a softball to explain why what they're doing is not censorship and not targeting free political speech. And I say that because, it is targeting political speech, but they have all these excuses that are really bad to pretend that it's not about that. But again, I just thought it was noteworthy that Shapiro doesn't even ask him to do that because he's just a Rubio cuck.